What is up, everybody? What is going on? It is VR 365. Yes, VR 52. VR 52. What is going on, folks? It is Thursday. It is May 30th, and it is 3:02 p.m. It is a couple of minutes after 3. A little bit late on the draw. You know, it's funny, right? Yesterday I was talking about how I'm going to start the show when I want to start the show. Whether it's 7 a.m. Why does my mouth keep blowing bubbles? Whether it's 7 a.m. in the morning or 11 p.m. at night, I'm going to start the show whenever I want to start the show. And the funny thing that happened is, so it was like 1:58 p.m., and I'm like, okay, I'm going to set the start time for 3 o'clock because I should be ready to go at 3 o'clock. Guess what? Wasn't ready to go at 3 o'clock. Still not ready to go. I was working on some little background stuff. Actually, I could tell you what I was working on. Let's go ahead and switch over to this window here. Nothing's showing up over there. Let's see here. Hold on a second. Properties. Let's see. Something's wrong here. There we go. Okay. Whoops. Add files. Okay. No. We want to add. Whoops. Add this one. OBS. Open. Okay. Whatever, I screwed it up. Oh, there it goes. Okay, it's working now. Okay, yeah, so what I do, guys, sorry about the delay there. What I do is when I get a PayPal donation or a brand new Patreon supporter, I make this little graphic. I actually do it by hand. Like, how incredible is this? Like, Anonymous donated $23.65 yesterday. Actually, Anonymous donated $3.65 for VR 365, then donated another $20. Oliver, otherwise known as Oliver, joined the Patreon. So a brand new Patreon supporter, Oliver. Wait a minute, there's more. Okay, going to the next one. Isaac Furbush Bear with a $5 donation. Thank you so much, Isaac. Yeah, there was a straight up flurry of PayPal donations and new Patreon supporters jumping aboard that happened yesterday. Part of the reason was Dear Sophie. Dear Sophie in chat was rallying the troops and like, come on guys, join his Patreon. Okay, Steve Drumheller joined the Patreon yesterday. Anonymous, the hacker organization. No, it was not them. I've had a number of people that have either donated or they've like jumped on the Patreon, but they didn't want to be mentioned on the show. Like they didn't want their real name mentioned, or they just didn't want to mention whatsoever. Alan Young, a brand new Patreon supporter. I think we picked up 5 new Patreon supporters yesterday, and I think there was about 5 different PayPal donations that came in yesterday. So it's pretty freaking incredible. A lot of people showing support. Will Flourish with a huge $25 donation via PayPal. That was another one that happened. So all of this happened yesterday. And see, what I do is I actually make these things by hand. If you can freaking believe it. The horror. Slayblaze. Wait, is that right? Slayblaze? Did I misspell that? Hold on, I gotta double check now. Man, I don't have it open anymore. Slayblaze. I think that's right. Hopefully, yeah, Slayblaze. Yeah, he's in chat. Slayblaze. He, she, I'm assuming he. So Slayblaze with the PayPal donation, and Stefan Charman joined the Patreon as well, and Gregor Roethlisberger. And my apologies to Gregor Roethlisberger because there should be 2 little dots above the O. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that in GIMP. I don't know how to do, and I've actually tried to watch some videos on how to do it, and they show you how to do it. And then I had my GIMP open and I tried to do it, and it doesn't have what they had in their GIMP in the YouTube deal. So I'm not a graphic artist. I mean, that's the God's honest truth. I am not good with this stuff. Like see how it says recent Patreon supporters, and it has a picture, Oliver, thanks for your support. Like, not very good, right? I mean, these graphics are not very good, but I do the best that I can do. So I did want to thank everybody that did jump on the Patreon yesterday, everybody that did reach out and donate some money via PayPal. It's huge. The support is huge. And people, basically what a lot of people are kind of saying with this is like, there's people out there, they like this daily show. They like the fact that they can come here Monday through Sunday, and it's kind of like I'm here like the newspaper is here in the morning. You know, kind of like the post office delivers your mail. Sun, rain, shine, whatever. That's not how the phrase goes, but it's something like that, right? Rain, shine, stormy weather, whatever it is. I am here Monday through Sunday, typically. I've had streaks where I did like 89 shows in a row before I ever missed a day. Occasionally I would have a missed day. I'd have a computer problem, or I'd be going out of town for a couple of days, and I would miss some time here or there. But I've also had these really long streaks where I'm here every single day. And that kind of brings me to the subject of yesterday's show. And I haven't even looked at the comments. Like, I have not even looked at the comments on yesterday's show because I just don't even want to go there. I know there was probably some people that had some really nice, wonderful things to say, but I know there's also some other people that are probably like, you entitled effing YouTuber. You're going to spend 30 minutes talking about how, oh, woe is me. I don't have enough subs. Poor little old me. You freaking entitled YouTuber. Who put the gun to your head and forced you to buy a Logitech C920 and start streaming live? Like, who's that guy? That's the question that I ask other people. Who's that guy? And then the answer is, what guy? The guy that put the gun to your head and forced you to start a YouTube channel. So I have avoided all the comments from yesterday's show, and I'm not even going to look at them. But the only thing that I'll say, I'm not going to apologize or anything for what happened yesterday, because I stand by pretty much everything that I said. Now, maybe it's like the dirty laundry that I shouldn't air live broadcast. You know, that's probably something I shouldn't talk about. Like, I know the vast majority of people don't care about that at all. But see, the thing is, I do a show every day. And so sometimes you have a really bad, rotten day, and I'm not going to do, I had a bad day. I'm not going to do that song. Sorry, Jim. I'm not doing that. But basically what I'm trying to say here is, when you do a show every single day, and you have like you're down in the dumps, like you're really down in the dumps on a particular day, but you still got to do the damn show anyway. So that's kind of what happens, where like somebody that does a show once a week, they might be down in the dumps like a mofo on Wednesday. Like, they might be seriously depressed and thinking, man, F this shit, I'm going to quit. But then their show isn't until Saturday. And by the time Saturday comes around, they're back to normal and they're fine. So part of the reality of having a show every single day is sometimes I'm just going to have a bad mood. Some days I'm just going to be a total asshole. And, you know, and some days I'm going to be super happy and chipper. And that's the side effect of doing a daily show every single day. You can't hide from it. Now, maybe if I was down in the dumps at like 8 in the morning and my show was at 10 p.m. at night, then maybe I'm fine by 10 p.m. and everything's fine. So I don't know. That's just an explanation I have for that, basically. But let's go ahead and actually, wait a minute. Before we go into the news, I do want to thank a Patreon supporter, previous Patreon supporter, not a Johnny Come Lately. Not these Johnny-come-latelys that just signed up yesterday, but a previous Patreon supporter So I want to go ahead and thank them really quick. So Villain, Villain 749. Absolutely appreciate your support, Villain 749. Thank you so much for joining my Patreon and supporting VR365, supporting VR Game Rankings, the website. Your support is tremendous. Everybody's support yesterday, tremendous. All these PayPal donators, even freaking terrorist groups supporting me. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But all these people supporting me, like, it really is awesome. And also coming out of the woodwork, like, a lot of messages. I got a lot of emails at info@vrgamerankings.com. A few people reached out to me on Reddit and some other places with some words of encouragement. And, man, I'm kind of embarrassed. It's embarrassing. I don't want to say I had a bad day, but I was kind of down in the dumps. It happens. It happens. You get down in the dumps sometimes. And I was frustrated and I just went on a tangent. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But let me go ahead and throw a miscellaneous trailer up on here just so we switch up the trailer real quick. And we do have some news to get into. So let's go ahead and get into some news. So the first news story, let's go ahead and switch over to the webinar. And the first news story I want to get into is something, okay, so this, I don't know how old this is, but I just found out about it in an email and I did a quick search on it, and VR Focus has a story on this. Did you guys hear the news that Pixel Ripped 1989, this is the new one. It is going to be called Pixel Ripped 1995. Pixel Ripped 1995, yes. So Pixel Ripped Incorporated, I believe, or the developer is really Arvore, Arvore, and there's a picture of it. They're at the Japan Media Arts Festival. Of course, creative director Anna Ribeiro, the lead designer on the project. And so what we've heard in regards to Pixel Ripped is basically, what I've heard is that they've got 3 of these, they've got like 5 of these planned out. That like Pixel Ripped 1989 was like the first one, and then they're going to do Pixel Ripped 1995, which 1995 is interesting because one of the things they talked about is it's going to kind of be a straddling of the 16-bit era and the 32-bit era. They probably should have called it Pixel Ripped 1994 because that was more of that straddling time. Now, I used to be a redonkulous retro gamer. I used to really be into retro games, and actually, like, the mid and early 90s were probably my favorite era of video games. And 1994, a very weird time in the video game world because you had your Sega Genesis, you had your Super Nintendo, those were the dominators. You had some people playing a little bit of Sega CD, although it kind of had died by that time. But in 1994, if you were like a next-gen type of guy, if you were an early adopter, you may have had a Panasonic 3DO. Yes, a Panasonic 3DO. So freaking underrated. The Panasonic 3DO was incredible. The Atari Jaguar, of course, was available, and it was out there in 1994. And then in November of 1994, you had the Sega 32X, which kind of sucked. The Sega 32X kind of sucked. Now, in 95, you had the arrival... In 95, you had the arrival of the Sega Saturn. It did that sneak attack at E3. They said the Saturn is available today. And I actually picked one up the day it was available. And then you had PlayStation. The very first PlayStation arrived in September 1995. So the idea here is it's going to kind of be a straddling of the 16-bit era and the early 32-bit era. And that is going to be the next Pixel Ripped game, Pixel Ripped 1995, by developer Arvore, in conjunction with Pixel Ripped Incorporated, Anna Ribeiro, the original designer there. So this is good news. And we can go ahead and go back over here to our standard scene. And let me grab Pixel Rip trailer, because I just want to talk for a quick second about what I think made Pixel Ripped such a good game. And like, if I had an interview with Anna, like if I was talking to her personally, what I would have told her, I would have said that the thing that really took Pixel Ripped to a whole new level, like the thing that was a game changer with Pixel Ripped, is you were in this reality, and then you were playing a video game within this fake reality on like a little Game Boy, right? You're mostly playing a Game Boy game for most of this game, but then there's certain times in the game where it leaks out into the fake reality that you're in. And I felt like that was the best part. Like, that was the best part of this whole thing. And honestly, what I would rather them do with their future games is forget all of this stuff and just give us like the Mario style gameplay in almost like an AR scenario. That's basically what I want from future Pixel Ripped games, is go ahead, put us in a reality like we're on a beach. You know, you could be laying on a beach, and you're on a beach and it's a beautiful ocean. You see the palm trees, there's breeze blowing, and then you're playing a Mario game that is taking place in that reality. Or you're at the tennis court and people are playing tennis, but now there's a Mario game, you know? And so it was those sections of Pixel Ripped that I thought were the best parts of the game. But there may be other people that would argue and say, well, wait a minute, what about the really cool Game Boy parts of it? And there was some cool Game Boy parts of it, especially when it was like, you know, and they had like it going up, and you're like going up, oh my God, I'm coming out of the Game Boy and I'm going back into reality. There were some pretty cool Game Boy moments, but there were other people that played this game and they were like, nah, I'm not into this. Like, they played it for a couple of minutes and they're like, you know what? I didn't have a Game Boy when I was a kid, and I don't really care about this. Like, I don't want to play a Game Boy. And so there were some people that were like that. They never played a Game Boy. They didn't have any nostalgia for that. I had a ton of nostalgia. See, that was the Mario part right there, where it leaked out, and then it's basically like an AR Mario game that's taking place in your fake reality. And that's where I want to see them go with this. Now, they're going to 1995. So I got to imagine if they're going to go to 1995, I think they're probably going to step away from the whole Game Boy thing. Unless they go with like a more modernized, like make it a Game Boy Color. Now we're stepping up to the Game Boy Color. If they want to go portable, I guess they could go Game Boy Color, or like TurboGrafx Express. You know, a freaking TurboGrafx Express. They could do something like that. Somebody's saying they don't see the stream. No, everything is Deli Wolfensparger. What is going on? Yeah, everything seems to be okay. So I think my audio and everything is okay. But what was I going to say? Like, if they're going to do 1995, I guess what they could do is they could kind of create like a fake PlayStation, like a fake PlayStation console. And you could be in like different living rooms and stuff, and you're like playing your PlayStation console, and then somehow it like leaks out into the living room, and then you're playing like a game. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it. See, the thing is, the Game Boy idea works so good because you can take the Game Boy to all these different places. You could have it in a school. You could have it at the playground. And see, I don't know that they're going to, like, they can't keep doing the school thing. They can't keep doing the playground thing. I mean, they could, but don't you think people would get bored of that? So it'll be interesting to see when we get the very first screenshots of Pixel Ripped 1995. But that is going to be the next one, Pixel Ripped 1995. I really like this game. Never completely finished it. I never finished the last boss. Now, I will admit, though, that I didn't like... See, the thing is, I'm not MAME fan, and so if I was MAME fan, see, MAME fan will get to a hard boss, and it'll just make him that much more committed to defeat the boss. And he'll just keep going in it and in it and in it and battle it and battle it and battle it, because MainFan has to beat those Nintendo game tapes. He has to beat it. And so he'll keep attacking it. Me? No, I don't. I like, sometimes I get to a really hard boss and then it's like, oh, well, I've got another game to play. I'm going to go play another game, and then maybe I'll come back to Pixel Ripped, and then I never come back to it. But yeah, I Am Roots is saying, oh my God, you need to finish the last boss, Anthony. You don't understand. It's so good. You've got to do it. So I know I got to go back in there. I know I do. And here's the thing, that mofo must die. That's MainFan checking in. And maybe I'll finish the last boss on the Oculus Quest. Yeah, buddy. Maybe I will finish the last boss of Pixel Ripped 1989 on the Oculus Quest. It's a great reason for me to play through the entire game all over again, and then finally put the last boss to bed on my Oculus Quest. Because Pixel Ripped 1989, it is coming to the Oculus Quest, possibly later this summer or early in the fall. We don't have like a precise release date for that, and I don't think we have any idea when Pixel Ripped 1995 is expected. Probably next year, I would have to imagine. Or it might even take longer than that, because they might be building an entirely different game engine. If they were going to use this same kind of game engine, they could pump it out real quick, but they're probably going to have to completely redo the game engine. It's an interesting concept. I mean, I like their concept. I'm just not exactly sure how they're going to do it. I hope they really, though, lean into 1995, like the TV shows of 1995, like the fashions. See, that's the thing that they have going on here. Is like Pixel Ripped 1989, they can kind of look at TV shows, technology, and fashions and stuff like that. So 1995, they can lean into that kind of a year and those kinds of fashions and all those kinds of things. All right, so the topic of today's show is Freediver, Triton Down versus Space Ops VR. Which one do you buy? And so let's go to the webinar. And one of the things I was very curious about with both of these games, I was curious about the price point of these games. I didn't know. And that's the thing. It's kind of weird. Oh, you know what? I removed my little slideshow thing. Hold on here. I need to add files. Open. Okay. Open. Cancel. Okay. I don't know. Anyways, sorry about that little red box in the corner. I screwed that up. But anyway, so we're talking about Freediver Triton Down. And the thing that I wonder about this a lot of times is the prices on these things. Like, you just never know. You never know if it's going to be $29.99, $34.99, $39.99, $19.99. We just don't know what these prices a lot of times, and you have to wait until the actual day. And I got to tell you, the price is a factor. Like, I do believe, like, I'm going to judge a game that costs $9 a hell of a lot different than I'm going to judge a game that costs $30. And there's people that will argue that that's wrong, that you shouldn't do that, that you should just judge the art, man. Don't judge the price of the art, judge the art. Don't worry about the value of the game. Don't worry about that. But I don't know. See, I've come from a background, like, I was that guy that would have to budget. I'm still that guy. I'm the guy that has to budget. Like, that's the thing. If I wasn't doing this show, if I wasn't getting like PayPal donations and Patreon support and stuff like that, I would not necessarily have all this stuff. Like, I'm going to be getting either a Rift S or a Reverb very soon. By the way, Nathy got a freaking Reverb today. Nathy got a Reverb delivered. We got to go to Twitter and check that out. But yeah, so I'm kind of like on a budget for the most part, besides getting like game keys and stuff like that. But that's where I came from. I came from this idea that I would have a budget. I can't buy every single game that comes down the pipe. So I have to make logical decisions. And the prices of games are factors. The prices of games affect things. And so I do think about the price of games. But I also, I understand the other argument. I do, and in some ways I can kind of agree with the other argument that the price is a completely separate issue. Judge the piece of art that it is, and then the pricing thing is a completely separate ball game. And I understand that, but I've always been kind of price conscious. So anyway, Freediver, $9. I was surprised, to say the least. I was very surprised that this was $9. I wasn't expecting it to be like 29 or 34 or anything, but I was still pretty surprised that it's $9. Okay, now going head to head on the very same day, Space Ops VR. And I was very curious about the price for this one. Maybe? Wondering. No, that's not it. So anyway, Space Ops VR. Yeah, so the price of this one, so this one has a normal price of $15, but it does have a special launch promotion of $11.24. So it's 25% off. You can get this for just under $12. The other one is $9. So both of these are pretty darn affordable, but which one do you go with? That's the question of the day. So why don't we do this? Let me find a free driver, I keep saying free driver. I always want to say free driver, like a daily driver, but it's Freediver. Okay, so let me find a Freediver trailer somewhere. We find and I have the old teaser trailer. I'm sure they've got like a trailer that just came out today that I didn't grab prior to the show. But I'll go ahead and grab this trailer right here, and I'll run this for a second, and I'll talk about my experience in Freediver, and then I'll also kind of recap my experience in Space Ops VR, and then I'll give my opinion on which one I think you should probably roll with. Okay, so here's the thing about Freediver. The awesome thing about it is it's got this underwater vibe. And you've heard me talk about underwater in VR a lot of different times because there's something about being underwater in VR. I think it's the fact that when you have a VR headset on, it's the equivalent of a freaking scuba mask. Like, it's so similar to having a scuba mask on your head. In fact, like the field of view and all of that is like a scuba mask. And so that's why being underwater is so cool. We've seen it with games like Subnautica and other games like that where you go underwater. And Subnautica especially, because when you go underwater, everything is so colorful. Everything is so vibrant. Now, this game, not so much. Like, not tremendously colorful underwater, I noticed in this game. Although you're mostly on this ship. Like, you start off, you're mostly on this ship. And basically it's capsized, it's sinking, you're trying to get out of this ship alive. And so you're trying to make it out alive. Now, the gameplay scenario here is that on your wrist, you have a meter that shows how much oxygen you have right now. And that's pretty much the key. That's the key game mechanic that you're working with here. So you have to dive down and try to figure something out, but then you start running out of oxygen. So you either need to find an air pocket somewhere, or you need to find these special little oxygen stations that are so conveniently supplied. It kind of reminds me of BioShock a little bit, like going to these little oxygen stations. I don't know why. I guess there was a similar mechanic in BioShock, right, where you could kind of get some health from these little stations. And so I don't know. I was reminded of BioShock going to these oxygen stations, and so you'd grab the oxygen mask and you'd hold it up, and then you're looking at your meter down here, and you're like, okay, 85%, 86%, 87%. So then you get 100% oxygen, and then you could go and swim. And so the actual movement in this game is physical. You're taking your controllers and you're basically you're holding down your grip buttons, and you're kind of like doing this motion. And so you're like going down like this, going up like this, you're swimming through. This is how you do it. And so sometimes you're holding something in one of your hands, and then your other hand is free, but you just go ahead and grip the trigger button, and you're swimming through the water. So that's how you do it. So you actually physically do that. So you're gonna kind of get a little bit of a workout in this game. You're actually, like, especially up here, your upper body, like, you're getting, if you do this long enough, it starts to feel like you're doing some exercise. So the premise is very cool, like being in the water, and especially like when you put your head out of the water, like that looks really cool. You see the water running along, and you'll look down the hallways like that, and you'll see water coming at you like that. Or sometimes you're looking down the hallways and water isn't rushing at you like that, but you see the waves, and the waves are undulating and moving about, and that does feel pretty cool. The bottom line, though, see, I'm not super high on this game. I like it. I like Freediver, and I'm not that far in it, so I can't really like make a snap judgment about it. But I'm not ranting and raving about Freediver. Like, I'm not the one that's going to rant and rave about this game. I'll say that I like it. I like the underwater style of it. And it's pretty cool. But at the same time, ultimately, what does it boil down to? Ultimately, it's just another VR puzzle game. And I think it was on Virtual Strangers this week, I Am Roots in chat was talking about that he's starting to get puzzle game fatigue. And I'm kind of with him here. There's just so many goddamn puzzle games in VR. And I know it's like, it's easy to make a puzzle game, but it's like, eventually we got to start moving past these puzzle games. We've got to start, like, there's got to be something else besides just like, oh, okay, you've got to power up this station, which unlocks this door. It's almost like we're going back to Doom, back to 1994, Doom. I mean, remember Doom in 1994 or 1993? Doom, you're running through a level, you find a key, you open the door. You know, you find the door, you open the door, and that's Doom, right? That's the game mechanic from 1994 where you find a switch, you flip the switch, and you get out of the room. That's pretty much what we're doing in VR in almost 90% of these games, and it is starting to get a bit old. It's starting to get a bit old. It's like you give it a major pass because you're in VR, you're experiencing VR, and you're like, oh, this is cool, this is underwater, and I kind of feel like I'm underwater, and so you kind of feel it, and it's like, this is kind of a cool idea. It reminds me of freaking Deep Blue Sea, you know, LL Cool J. You know, he had the little parrot or whatever, that little bird on his shoulder, you know, and he's like going through the hallways and shit, and it's all flooded, and there's like sharks and stuff. It kind of reminded me of Deep Blue Sea for a second, without the comedy factor, of course. But basically, it's like it's these little missions, these little errands. You're basically running little errands. It's like flip this switch, power up this door where you can open up this door. Just kind of getting a little bit tired of that, I'd have to say. Graphically, I like the game. Sound-wise is good. There's a couple of experiences in this game that are pretty dope, because one time I was basically swimming through like an air conditioning vent, and and every once in a while you'll go in one little air conditioning vent, and it's like boom, like the freaking like you just caught a water slide and you're just going hella fast, and then you're going through that air conditioning vent, and then you grab onto the other vent. The other nice play mechanic, I'm having problems talking today, apologies. But the other good play mechanic that they have is there's a lot of grabbing things, like grabbing the side of this, grabbing the side of that, pushing yourself along, pulling yourself along like this, like grabbing the side of the door, pulling yourself along, grabbing the side of this, because sometimes you're fighting against currents. It's like all the water's rushing this way, but you got to get to that door over there. And so you got to grab onto these poles. You got to pull yourself through. You're fighting through the force of the water. That's kind of cool. Sometimes I almost felt like I was on a space station. It reminded me a little bit of Lone Echo at times, actually. Being on a space station, like you're floating in space, but instead of space, it's water. You're underwater. Bottom line, I think it's pretty good. And for $9, see, the bottom line is this. Do you have puzzle game fatigue? Are you sick of puzzle games? Are you sick of powering this door and then opening that door and finding this key card? Like, how many effing key cards are we going to find in VR? The next game that asks me to find a key card, I'm going to freaking, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm just tired of the key cards. But if you're not fatigued by puzzle games, then you probably do want to grab this because it is a different experience. No one's really done this whole underwater thing. And then the time factor is kind of interesting, like managing your oxygen. And then there's going to be certain parts of this game where there isn't a little oxygen station anywhere, or there isn't a little air bubble that you can find to get some oxygen. Instead, you're going to have to like do everything perfect to make it in time because you're going to have to travel a certain distance and then finally hit that air pocket. And one of the cool things about that, like I will give it some love from the fact that when you're just about to die, like your oxygen is damn near down to zero and you finally get up just to it's very much like Titanic in that way where the ceiling is right here and the water's like up here and you just barely get your head out of the water and you're just breathing a little bit of air and it's like, oh, freedom. I can actually breathe now because I just barely got my head out of the water. So I like it. It's pretty good, but I do have major puzzle fatigue. So that's my thoughts on Freediver. It's available today. The price, I mean, I thought for sure this was going to be $19.99. So this is $11 cheaper than I thought it was. Now, maybe it's very, very short. Like maybe I'm not that far from the end. I'm not sure how long it lasts. Just kind of scratched it a little bit. Okay, now let me see if I can find a Space Ops trailer. Space Ops, I wanted to get into it last night. I wanted to play it for like about, 30 minutes or so just to kind of give myself a quick little refresher before talking about it today, but I didn't end up getting a chance. I forgot about it. I like this game. I don't know what it is about this game that I like so much, but I think the thing I like about this game is that you just get in the game and you just start going. It's run, shoot, run, point, shoot. I mean, you get a gun. You're running through these levels. The levels are wide open. You feel like you're in these wide open arenas. I haven't even saw that part, like with these weird bugs and stuff. Like I never got to that section. That's a little bit later in the game. But you're kind of like having this race. Like you're racing another team of players. And I played this solo, but you can play this like co-op and everything. And I'm sure it'd be a lot more enjoyable co-op. Now, probably the biggest worry about Space Ops VR is when you do play something co-op, sometimes you run through it so much faster. Like I remember way back in the days when I had a Super Nintendo, and you know how like there'd be these Super Nintendo games where you could either play them single player or you could play them two player. And like I'd have a buddy come over and we'd be playing a Super Nintendo game and it was a two-player game. And so we would play it together, two players, and we would freaking finish the game that day. And I would be like, damn, I shouldn't have done this. I should have played this by myself because I just paid $59.99 for this freaking Super Nintendo game. And me and my buddy just ran through the whole thing, and we finished the whole entire game. And when you're a single player playing, it can sometimes take you a lot longer to play through a game. So that's sometimes my worry. Like a lot of times with games like this, I kind of want to go through it solo and maybe play through almost everything solo and then be like, okay, I saw everything solo. Now I'm going to do co-op and I'm going to play with other people and have other people with me, because if we're going really fast through these levels, we're blowing through these levels because we got extra people and we can get through it a lot easier, then all these levels aren't being spoiled because I've already seen them. I've already enjoyed them. I've already had fun with them. I've already savored them. And so if we're running through them super fast on co-op, it's not that horrible. But yeah, so anyways, that is... Oh, so I Am Root says it took him about 45 minutes. Okay, so Freediver is really short. Wow, 45 minutes max. I must really suck because I believe I've played 45 minutes already and I have not finished it, but maybe I'm close to the end. Maybe I'm very close to the end because it's taken me longer than 45 minutes. So yeah, that's a big part of it. That's the reason why it's $9. It's 45 minutes. Okay, so ultimately, what's my decision here? Well, I could cheat and say, look, for basically $20, you pretty much get both of these babies. You can grab both of these babies for $20. It'd be nice if Space Ops VR had a little demo, because I think people could try the demo and they could kind of see. It's kind of a shoot, bang, bang game. So I could see some people like, this is just another shooting game. It's got bugs and I'm just shooting things. And it's kind of an ordinary game. I like Space Ops. And for the price, for $11.25, I like Space Ops. Honestly, if somebody put a gun to my head and they said, look, you've got to make a decision. You're either going with Space Ops or you're going with something else. You're either going with Space Ops or something else. You're either going with Space Ops or you're going with Freediver. I think I'm going to go with Space Ops. I think I'm actually going to go with Space Ops just for the pure action, the shoot, bang, bang action of it all, rather than worrying about, the puzzle thing and managing my oxygen and all of that. I think I would rather actually go with Space Ops. Oh my God, the thing finally showed up. See that? Isaac Furbush Bear down there, $5 PayPal donation. That's weird that finally showed up, but now it's empty. Something's wrong with my little thing. I got it screwed up. But anyways, that's pretty much Space Ops. I'm downloading Blood and Truth right now. I'm downloading it right now, and it is 30-something gigs. So I will finally be talking about Blood and Truth tomorrow. I'm late to the party on Blood and Truth. Okay, why don't we go ahead and check the news? Let's go ahead and refresh this. This is Upload VR. Yeah, so I did hear about this story, and this is prime time, guys. You can get Abduction for free on GOG. Good old games. It is available for free. Now, the only thing I got to worry about is I got to find my old GOG account and password. That's the only thing. I don't know where my GOG... I probably have it saved somewhere. Because that's the only thing, is like I don't feel like going through the process of opening like a new account and everything. But if I could find my old GOG password, my username and password, I will definitely jump in and grab Abduction. Why not? It doesn't run very well. Like we've always heard that it doesn't run very well in VR, and it's never really been that smooth. Although, did Scion say they were going to go back in there and try to fix it up a little bit? I can't remember if they said, because I know they said they're going to try to improve the PlayStation VR version, which is way bad. Like, people are like, nah, don't even touch the PlayStation VR version. Holy smokes, Unreal is going to be $500? Whoa, this is breaking news. I haven't even seen this. Like, I just saw this up there, and I'm like, what? Unreal Lite is a $500 consumer AR headset shipping this year. Shockers of shockers, ladies and gentlemen. We are changing our name to AR365. Yeah, buddy. No, I don't know about that, but this is kind of surprising. Okay, so today, AR headset company Unreal have announced the debut of Unreal Lite, a consumer-focused AR headset with a small sunglasses form factor for 500 buccarinis. It ships later this year. They're also launching the developer edition for 1,200. Blah, blah, blah. So the Unreal Lite model has a 1080p display and is focused on ease of use. During demos, we watched AR concerts on tabletops, streamed video on virtual floating screens, played simple games, and checked tasks with pop-up calendar displays. For $500, you get the glasses themselves that must be connected to a smartphone running a snappy 855 or better. And not only that, not every phone that has a snappy 855 is going to work. It is going to require that it actually has a USB-C DisplayPort output on the phone itself. And there's an app that will pre-certify the specific phones that they'll be able to work. This keeps the cost down so they don't need to ship the device with its own processing unit. Okay, so yeah, that's what's going on here. See, I forgot about that. I'm like, $500? Okay, it's $500 because that is the light pack. You know, this is like Magic Leap. There's Magic Leap, and that's the light pack. That's your phone. So that's basically how they're doing it here. But still, they are getting, like, for people that have really high-end phones with a Snapdragon 855, you know, you can kind of screw around with AR a little bit, which is kind of cool, at a lower price. Let's see, InRealLight provides a lightweight XR viewer that allows consumers to take advantage of 5G, including high bandwidth and low latency to deliver immersive experiences virtually anywhere. What are they talking about 5G? So, like, your phone would need to have the 5G modem, right? Because the glasses themselves don't have a 5G modem inside them. So I think your phone would have to have the 5G thing. And then in terms of the field of view, InReal's field of view reportedly falls right around 52 degrees, which is a step up from the original HoloLens and just barely wider than Magic Leap 1's 50 degrees. So, I don't know. Pretty cool, kind of interesting. I did not hear about this. I've been at work all day and did not hear about that. But that's kind of cool. It's not too bad. Okay, I also saw, of course, Beyond the Wall, Game of Thrones VR experience. It's coming exclusive to Viveport Infinity. So all of you Game of Thrones lovers, I watched the Game of Thrones for the first several seasons. I think I got to like season 4 or 5, and then I fell off of the show. It's that there's too many different families, too many different names. It's like you damn near need you need an app. You need like tablets and shit. You need like all kinds of accessories next to you when you watch. I couldn't keep track of everybody, and I just finally said, F it. I'm not into Game of Thrones anymore, and I let it go. So I have no idea what people are complaining about as far as like the ending of Game of Thrones and all of that. I was into it for a minute. I really was. I liked Game of Thrones for a minute, but I kind of fell out of it. But yeah, so Beyond the Wall is going to be exclusive to Viveport Infinity. And remember, folks, Viveport Infinity now officially supports the Oculus Rift, and next month it is going to support Reverb, HP Reverb. Dude, Nathy has a freaking HP Reverb. Nathy, what is up, bro? Have you seen 2160 by 2160 yet? Have you seen it? And Nathy, you know, the number one question, Nathy, 3.5 meters on the cable. 3.5 meters for your Reverb cable. And apparently there's no way to extend it. At least nobody's figured out how to extend it. So Nathy, here's what I want you to do. I want you to make an extensive video explaining how do we extend the 3.5 meter Reverb cable. That's the one thing that's scaring me about the Reverb. But yeah, so you'll be able to experience this. You could experience Beyond the Wall on your HP Reverb in about a month, when the Viveport Infinity service is available for Windows mixed reality headsets. It's already available for Oculus Rift and, of course, HTC as well. I'm assuming if you end up with a Valve Index, that's going to be weird. Are you going to be able to use your Valve Index with Viveport Infinity? I mean, I hope so, right? Like, they don't hate each other, do they? Like, Valve and freaking HTC, they're cool, right? I mean, they got to be cool. So I'm sure you'll probably be able to use your Valve Index on Viveport Infinity. The one thing I will say about Viveport Infinity, I like what they're doing. Like, this is the one thing that HTC is doing right. This is really the one thing that they're doing right. If the software was not sketchatorical from the standpoint that a lot of people install this software and they have a lot of problems. They have a computer that's working great. They install this software and now all of a sudden their computer isn't working great anymore. But if you move that off to the side and you don't worry about that too much, the one thing that HTC has done right is this Viveport Infinity idea, like the Netflix of VR. It's a freaking fantastic idea. It's a great idea. And they're opening it up to all kinds of headsets. Like they're like, come one, come all. You know, we're here. Hook your headset up to us. We're good. Go ahead, sign up. So, I mean, it's kind of a cool idea. I do have an extra PC, actually. I have an extra gaming PC. My old VR gaming PC that I used before this is still here. It's right over there. I haven't used it in a long time. And I was going to put Viveport Infinity on there and try it, because if it freaking nukes that PC, I'm okay with it because it's an extra PC. And I should probably do that. And then maybe I could check out this Game of Thrones VR experience. But I know the way it works, though, is like some of the stuff is free and some of the stuff you have to buy stuff. So this is probably going to be something that you have to buy. But yeah, I haven't actually read the story on that. But I'm sure there's a lot of people that are super hyped on that just because Game of Thrones, man. So anyway, what else is going on? Oh, you know what? I did hear about this, Ultra Haptics. So Ultra Haptics has purchased Leap Motion. So Leap Motion is no longer a private company. They have been purchased. Ultra Haptics bought them for $10 million? What? I thought they bought them for $30 million. Oh my God, dude, Leap Motion. Do you know that there was one point in time, this was a number of years ago, Leap Motion had a valuation, like people estimated the valuation of Leap Motion at $300 million. There was a point in time where Leap Motion was valued at around $300 million in terms of like a speculative value, right? And Apple almost bought Leap Motion like 2 different times. There's a couple of other companies that almost bought Leap Motion. There's actually a better story about this, I think, on like Engadget or something. But Ultra Haptics, so Ultra Haptics is this company that's trying to use like ultrasound, like shooting out ultrasound waves so that you'll actually feel something, you know? So it's like, because that's the big problem, right? So if you get if you have hand tracking on your headset, and so now your hands are in VR, and that's awesome. It's a great thing to have your hands in VR. And of course, the Valve Index does have the little hole right there that a Leap Motion could possibly pop right in there. Of course, now Ultra Haptics is going to be the one providing something to pop in there. But you can get your hands in VR, and that's very cool. The problem is, how do you feel anything? You know, when you're touching things, when you're grabbing a baseball or you're doing something, how are you going to feel something? And that's what Ultra Haptics is doing. They project ultrasound drive tactile sensations onto users' hands, while Leap Motion is going to track the movement of the fingers. And it says some location-based VR experiences like The Void use this kind of hand tracking for impactful, immersive effects. I don't know about this Ultra Haptics thing. I don't know too much about it. How is it actually, like, how is it projecting? Like, we see this big box, like this box right here. Is that what you need? You need to get a big box like this that then is sending out some signals somehow to your hand and you're actually feeling things? So, I mean, it's an interesting idea, but god damn, dude, Leap Motion got boned. They got totally boned. They should have sold a long, long time ago. And then, of course, the other question is what's going to happen to Project North Star? Like, Project North Star was this open source AR thing, one of the craziest looking things we've ever seen, but it was a pretty good idea, and people were working on it, and they were playing around with it. And there were some people that were even making like these nice kits for Project North Star that were kind of like building these like ad hoc AR devices, like connecting them together and figuring it out slowly but surely. Now it's all under the umbrella of Ultra Haptics. So I don't know what's going to happen there as far as Project North Star. That's going to be weird. What's going to happen with that? So yeah, but the story that I read is that they got bought for 30 million, but it's saying the Wall Street Journal reports that they bought the company for 10 million, and the CEO bounced. Like most everybody is coming aboard Ultra Haptics. Like most of the company members are all coming aboard, but the CEO bounced. He is not coming aboard. See, I think I read a story on Engadget that I think was a little bit better than this one. Let's try to go. Hold on a second here. Let's go Engadget. Let me just check over at Engadget real quick if they have that story. Or maybe, was it Engadget? Yeah, here it is. Oh, wait, we just lost it. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, VR pioneer Leap Motion reportedly sells to Ultra Haptics for 30 million. Yeah, apparently not. Maybe 10 million. But it says it was said to be valued at 10 times as much back in 2013. Way back in 2013, Leap Motion had a prospective value of $300 million. And the CEO and co-founder, Michael Buchwald, is not staying on at Ultra Haptics. He is basically bouncing, he's leaving, but everybody else is coming aboard. So it'll be interesting to see ultimately what happens with that. So there goes Leap Motion. Remember when people used to get Leap Motion and Magic Leap? They would always confuse the two. They would be talking about Leap Motion, but they'd say Magic Leap, or they'd be talking about Magic Leap, but they'd accidentally say Leap Motion. Okay, so Super Hot on Quest launch sales 300% higher than Rift without cross-buy. So Super Hot selling incredibly well on the Oculus Quest. It is definitely one of the darlings on the Oculus Quest. Super Hot, Beat Saber, and Moss are a couple of the ones that weren't supporting cross-buy, but the sales are doing incredibly well. So it's still selling very well on the Oculus Quest. And yeah, so see, I didn't get to actually check stories. I still have not checked out Blood and Truth, so haven't played that yet. And Mare is a mythical VR game with a stunning art style. I haven't checked this one out either. There's a trailer for this. Oh, that does look pretty cool. Like, that art style does look pretty sweet. There's a lot of VR games. Like, I've really got to update VR game rankings and add all the extra VR games that we found out about just like in the last couple of weeks. Just in the last couple of weeks, we found out about a lot of extra VR games. For example, Pixel Ripped 1995. That's another one. And then you've got this one, Mare. So, there's lots of little VR games that are popping up all over the place. Looking over here at Road to VR, they've got pretty much all the same stories over here. Abduction is free. Make sure to grab that from GOG. If you've still got a password, you'll be able to get in there. And I'll definitely... have you guys seen this? This Logitech stylus? This is actually kind of a cool idea. Because if you've ever been in Tilt Brush and you've ever been painting stuff or you've been trying to do stuff in Quill, you probably found out pretty quickly that the accuracy, the pinpoint accuracy of being able to paint things is a little bit difficult. And so Logitech has recognized that. And so they're basically creating this Steam VR stylus that is trackable in Steam, and you can basically, draw things in the air. You can draw things on a table, and so you can sketch stuff out really quickly. So pretty cool idea. I don't know how much this is going to cost. It's probably not meant, this is more for enterprise. It's more for people that are working on things. So probably going to be pretty darn expensive. But I did think this is a pretty cool idea. Logitech is only just revealing the VR Ink Pilot Edition, though they say this isn't a prototype and it's absolutely coming to market. I was curious if they might have had a price on this one, but I haven't seen it yet. But this does look pretty cool. A 3D stylus, basically, to use in midair or also on tables and walls. because you could just have a big wall and you're in VR and you could just be drawing on the wall. That could work absolutely fine. So pretty good idea by Logitech. We'll have to see how much that's going to cost when it ultimately comes out. Check out Oculus YouTube channel. Okay, let me go ahead and check that out. Do they got like a brand new video or something? Let's see here. A lot of times when I just go Oculus though, like it won't actually, see, it doesn't actually show me the channel. I gotta go Oculus channel. It'll show like a lot of other stuff. Oculus channel. Here we go. Okay, here's Oculus. Let's go videos. Road to Tokyo, is this what you're talking about? Oculus Medium? Five Nights at Freddy's, we know about that. I don't know. Yeah, Oculus Medium. Yeah, don't know what that's all about, but yeah, that's going on. But anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. We can go back over here to our standard scene. We've been going for basically about an hour here. My apologies. I didn't really have stories. Like, I was still scrambling to get ready. Still wasn't quite ready for the show today. Working on some other stuff and didn't get a lot of stories developed. So we just kind of winged it a little bit. But going back to Freediver, going back to Space Ops VR, I think both of these games are pretty cool. So if one of them kind of tickles your fancy a little more than the other one, you're probably good to buy either one of them at $9 or a little bit under $12. You're not spending a lot of money. Of course, Freediver, very short experience. Apparently a 45-minute experience. I know I played it for more than 45 minutes, but I take forever in everything because I end up going down the wrong path. I go way off the beaten path. I'm exploring rooms that I don't need to be exploring. I get lost. I don't follow. See, that's the thing. If you look at your wrist in Freediver, it'll tell you exactly what to do. But I don't do that. I just kind of like try to think, what am I supposed to do? And so then I don't really do that. So Freediver, I've definitely played more than 45 minutes in Freediver, but I don't know what I'm doing. So that's a big part of it. But yeah, that's going to go ahead and do it for this particular episode of VR 365. I did want to thank our Patreon supporter one more time. Our Patreon supporter of the day, Villain749. Really appreciate your support, Villain749. Thank you so much for supporting my Patreon. I absolutely appreciate it for VR 365 and VR game rankings as well. NV1790, did you do the Oculus Quest getting a lights out mode? Yeah, we did that yesterday actually. Like, I did have a show yesterday. There is a show with actual topics and stuff yesterday. If you avoid the first 30 minutes, you avoid the first 30 minutes of all my YouTube troubles or my oh woe is me, like poor old Anthony. If you avoid all that for 30 minutes, there was actually a show after that. And so I do talk about the lights out mode. I also talk about the 60 hertz mode that is going to make watching videos a little bit better. And what was the other thing as well? Oh, also dual laser pointers. So when you're using your Oculus Quest right now, one laser pointer comes out of one of the controllers. Sometimes it might be on your left hand, it might be on your right hand, and if you want to switch hands, you just hit the trigger, bam, it immediately switches. But part of the update is we're going to get dual laser pointers. So there's going to be laser pointers going out of both of them, which if you're using a little keyboard, you can do stuff on the keyboard a little bit quicker, a little bit faster. So pretty good idea there. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and bounce out of here. I will be back on Friday. As far as show times, I don't have specific show times, but they will be in the same general time range. They might be an hour later than normal. They might be a half an hour earlier than normal, but within the general time frame that most of the shows are at. All right, well, that's going to go ahead and do it for this one. I'm getting ready to play Blood and Truth, guys. Blood and Truth on PlayStation VR. I got to download 30-something gigs. I'm probably halfway through. But I'm looking forward to that. I have not seen these incredible characters in VR yet. Unbelievable. So I'll probably be talking quite a bit about Blood and Truth tomorrow after finally experiencing the game. Like, if you go to the PlayStation VR subreddit, it's all anybody is talking about is Blood and Truth, Blood and Truth, Blood and Truth. Like, do you play Blood and Truth standing up? Do you play Blood and Truth sitting down? You know, I was really disappointed with this because apparently London Studio says you're supposed to play Blood and Truth sitting down. I'm like, what? I want to be standing up. But there is that conflict of like, okay, now I'm standing up, now I'm sitting down, now I'm standing up, it's kind of like the LA Noire thing, like you don't know what to do. So it's kind of one of those things. But anyway, I will talk to everybody tomorrow. Have a wonderful Thursday. See you guys on Friday. Take it easy. Later.